So apparently, America has reached the end of its to-do list. This post is not about those claiming they did not know Africa was great or developed. Miss me with that. But those scholars who feel speed pulled the rug underneath them. Those who assume the authority to write narratives. iShowSpeed boarding a plane to Africa? Oh no. Emergency meeting. Sound the alarms. Think pieces immediately. Let's talk about something that genuinely has me scratching my head. America is outraged. Not over inflation. Not over healthcare. Not over student loans.
Nope.
They're upset because iShowSpeed went to Africa.
Yes.
That's where we are as a society. Because if there's one thing Americans cannot tolerate, it's someone doing something without their permission, especially if that someone is loud, young, black, and not wrapped in respectability politics. Let's start with the basics. iShowSpeed went to Africa. He didn't declare war. He didn't rename the continent. He didn't claim kingship. He visited. With a camera.
And vibes.
That's it. And yet, you would think this man personally destabilized international relations. Suddenly, everyone became deeply concerned about Africa. People who couldn't point out Ghana on a map yesterday are now experts in cultural nuance, optics, and global perception. I love how that works. The first complaint, classic, predictable, tired, is, why him? Why iShowSpeed? Why not a scholar? Why not a diplomat? Why not someone calm, polished, and palatable? Translation. Why is it always the loud one? Why is it always the embarrassing one? Why can't Black representation be quiet and impressive for once? And there it is. Respectability politics wrapped in fake concern. Because, let's be very clear, Africa does not have a dress rehearsal. There is no audition process. There is no committee approving who is worthy of visiting. Africa is not a gated community for elite Black excellence. It's a continent. People go there. Loud people, quiet people, smart people, silly people, regular people, all the time. But the real fear isn't Speed himself. The fear is how uncontrollable he is. You can't script him. You can't polish him. You can't put him in a blazer and hand him talking points. And that makes people uncomfortable. Then comes the second pearl-clutching argument. He's reinforcing stereotypes.
Oh, really?
So now y'all care about stereotypes? Because for decades, Africa has been portrayed as nothing but flies, famine, war, and sad piano music by Western media, Western films, Western charities, and Western news outlets. But suddenly, iShowSpeed is the problem? Be serious. If stereotypes were going to disappear, they would not be undone by a 19-year-old streamer screaming in a marketplace. That's not how this works. What people are actually mad about is that Speed's content is unfiltered. It's messy. It's chaotic. It's human. And that doesn't align with the carefully curated, Africa explained to white people aesthetic some folks are invested in. Now, let's talk about who is actually mad, because this part matters. A lot of the outrage is not coming from Africans on the continent. It's coming from Americans in the diaspora. Loudly, confidently, on behalf of people who did not ask them to speak. Some Africans welcomed Speed. Some laughed with him. Some criticized him. Some didn't care at all. You know, normal reactions. But American timelines turned it into, Africa is offended. Which Africa? Who called you? Was there a group chat? Because last I checked, Africa is not a single opinion with a single spokesperson located on US Twitter. Now, let's get into the part nobody wants to say out loud. Jealousy.
Yes.
I said it. There are creators, activists, educators, and influencers who have been trying very hard to get global attention on Africa for years. Carefully edited videos. Informative threads. Beautiful drone shots. Well-researched captions. And then Speed shows up, yells for 5 minutes, and gets 10 times the engagement. That hurts. That really hurts. Because it exposes an uncomfortable truth about the internet. The algorithm does not care about your credentials. It cares about attention. Chaos beats polish. Authenticity beats curation. Energy beats explanation. Every single
time.
And instead of admitting that, people would rather moralize. It's irresponsible. It's embarrassing. It's harmful. But notice how none of that stopped the views. Another layer to this outrage is what I call diaspora anxiety. Some Black Americans are deeply concerned about how Africa reflects on them, because they've spent their entire lives battling stereotypes in the West, and any perceived messiness feels like a setback. So when Speed shows up being Speed, it feels personal. But here's the hard truth. Africa does not exist to heal America's racial trauma. It is not a PR project. It is not an image rehabilitation center. It is not obligated to be serious, quiet, or dignified for Western comfort. People there laugh,
Joke.
argue,
Play.
hustle,
Show off.
act up, just like everywhere else on Earth. And guess what? That doesn't make the continent less worthy of respect. What truly blows my mind is the gatekeeping. Who decided Africa must always be presented academically? Who decided joy is disrespectful? Who decided chaos equals ignorance? Because if we're being honest, African youth culture online is loud, creative, unserious, sarcastic, trend-driven, and deeply tapped into global internet culture. Speed didn't impose that. He mirrored it. And maybe that's what's unsettling, because it disrupts the neat little narrative some people prefer, where Africa is either a tragedy or a lecture, but never just a place where people live and have fun. At the end of the day, this outrage is not really about iShowSpeed. It's about control. Who gets to tell the story?
Who gets the spotlight?
Who gets to be seen without permission? And the answer, unfortunately for some, is not the people who think they should decide. The internet decided. The audience decided. The moment decided. And yes, sometimes the moment chooses chaos. So no, America isn't mad because Speed went to Africa. America is mad because he didn't ask first. He didn't behave properly. He didn't fit the approved image.
And he succeeded anyway.
And that is the part they cannot stand. Because it reminds everyone that influence doesn't belong to the most educated, the most polished, or the most respectable. It belongs to the most engaging. And right now, that's iShowSpeed. Love him or hate him. He went, he showed up, and he shook the table. And watching people lose their minds over it, honestly, that might be the most entertaining part of the whole trip. And if you made it this far, clearly you like honest conversations without the fake outrage and selective morality. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video. It tells the algorithm you're tired of performative outrage and ready for real talk. Drop a comment, because I already know this topic has people in their feelings, and I want to hear which part bothered you the most. And if you really want to support the channel, share this video because common sense spreads slower than chaos, and we could use the help.